Hello, you're watching Pray-a-Thon Global Impact Report, bringing you this week's Impact Reports compilation from the prayer efforts of the Pastor Chris Live Pray-a-Thon, as reported around the world. The Pastor Chris Live Pray-a-Thon is a non-stop global prayer chain, now more than 3 years strong, powered by Christians from over 205 countries, leading in sessions of prayer every 15 minutes of every day and counting. Each week, the founder of the Global Prayer Network, Reverend Dr. Chris disseminates prayer directives according to the will of God. And we've been recording incredible positive changes worldwide ever since. In recent times, we've prayed prophetically over the nations, affirming the mercy and favor of the Lord to all, interceding for the salvation, righteousness and prosperity of nations, and thanking the Lord, as always, for the victorious proliferation of the church around the world. Here are just a few of this week's most inspiring impact reports. Florida Governor, GOP lawmakers champion medical freedom. The Florida governor and likely presidential candidate, Ron DeSantis, has been a proponent of the movement mostly known for its opposition to vaccine requirements. His recent campaign proposes permanently limiting COVID-19 vaccination. And mask requirements, and giving cover to physicians whose medical views depart from scientific consensus. He also revealed plans to set up a panel to review recommendations from the CDC and called for a grand jury to investigate crimes and wrongdoing committed against Floridians related to the COVID vaccine. GOP lawmakers across the USA have introduced hundreds of bills this year under the medical freedom banner, including proposals to ban the government from creating non-school-based vaccine mandates and allow citizens to challenge public health disaster declarations. China has reopened its borders to tourists and resumed issuing all visas in an effort to revive tourism and related economic activity. Following a 3-year halt during the COVID-19 pandemic, China is one of the last major countries to reopen its borders to tourists. China had previously stuck to a harsh zero-COVID strategy involving sudden lockdowns and daily COVID-19 testing to try to stop the virus, before abandoning most aspects of the policy in December amid growing opposition. Despite recent concerns about banks and higher interest rates, global markets have gained momentum. China's new number 2 leader, Premier Li Qiang, remarked that while the economy showed encouraging momentum of rebounding in January and February, the situation in March has been even better. Members of the Global Climate Intelligence Group, a think tank whose objective is to put the science back into climate science, argue that the geological evidence proves that the planet's climate regularly varies, with natural cold and warm phases, which contributes to the inaccuracy of existing climate models. Saudi Arabia, Syria to reopen embassies after over a decade of hostilities. Talks between Riyadh and Damascus gathered momentum in the weeks after Saudi Arabia and Iran agreed to re-establish diplomatic ties and reopen mutual embassies in a deal brokered by China. The re-establishment of ties between Saudi Arabia and Syria would signify a major new development in the balance of power in the Middle East. Restoring ties could also have a huge impact on other regional conflicts fueled in part by the Riyadh-Damascus rivalry. World Athletics bans transgender women from competing in female events. The governing body's president, Lord Coe, said no transgender athlete who had gone through male puberty would be permitted to compete in female world ranking competitions from the 31st of March. Lord Coe added the decision was guided by the science around physical performance and male advantage, and the overarching principle of prioritizing the fairness and integrity of the female category above all other considerations. Kentucky and West Virginia have joined 9 other U.S. states in advancing laws limiting or banning access to gender-change therapies for children as part of a wave of Republican-led legislation in the USA. Kentucky's bill will also bar schools from holding discussions of sexual orientation and gender identity, while educational districts must craft policies to ensure students use toilets corresponding to their gender at birth. Billionaire businessman Elon Musk and a range of tech leaders called on Wednesday for a pause in the development of powerful artificial intelligence systems. This came in response to the recent release of GPT-4, a more advanced successor to the widely used AI chatbot ChatGPT that helped spark a race amongst tech giants to unveil similar apps. The company says its latest model is much more powerful than the previous version, which was capable of generating tracks of text from the briefest of prompts. The year-long Pastor Chris Live Unending Praise is underway. The Pastor Chris Live Unending Praise is a year-long, round-the-clock chain of unending praise and worship with spirit-filled songs from Loveworld. Every 30 minutes of each hour of each day for the next 1 year, groups of Christians will be rendering praises to the Lord. Join in the non-stop praise today for at least one session at www.pastorchrislive.org or www.lmam360.com. The Lord is merciful and kind, and we're grateful to Him for another week of prayers and answers. To join the man of God, Pastor Chris, and millions around the world in effecting global change through prayer, visit pastorchrislive.org and schedule your daily 15-minute prayer session in the non-stop global prayer chain. Participate live in global prayers with the man of God and millions more for at least 15 minutes every day. Follow the @Pastor Chris Live super user on Kingchat for weekly global prayer guides. Share your report on the impact of praying with Pastor Chris Live on Kingchat using the hashtag #PrayingNow, #Pray-a-Thon 2023, #PCL Pray-a-Thon 2023, #IamAPriestInOffice, and #YourCountry. Or send a message to @Pray-a-Thon 2023 on Kingchat. The Pastor Chris Live Prayer Network, effecting global change through prayer.